Somal Trashitele, Nima Tisites Chiletes Gonda.
Hello everyone, and apologies for being a few minutes late.
Noble Karsatim, Modrak Babas Kani, that is it other letter muscle.
There was a traffic jam on the road, so I couldn't be here on time.
This is Ada Marla, the same country. Canada Karsatik, Manda with Sorcerer.
I hope you are not angry that I'm a bit late.
Mati, Yona Marquez Thomas.
If you are, you can tell me that you are.
This is the Tachimbo. This is the Tachimbo Iditane, Market Kama Chuchama, this is Jesus Sons of the Sonda Chonse.
The time is most valuable thing, so I'm really sorry.
And it is the one Tachimbo. This is the Tachimbo, you know. And Tinam the Sozo Masi Chubuchi, the dear Thunder, the Mosquito, the famous gate Chimbuch of Violet.
Of course, the time is really valuable, but I also think that also we must try to make our life as joyous as filled with happiness as we can. I think that way.
And then Masichibu Chikialia, the Peshak Niver the Gore, Top Corsa and Senyanda, the last of a Kangaga, Masichibu Yonalia, and Kozogitashi Chigri, Pentongrelat.
And from one perspective, to achieve a happy life, we need money, we need fame, and to some extent, they can fulfill our need of happiness.
The Tomak Haku Goran, Desija Gomar, Zambali Tomak, Zambali Mitomak, T. Chedelia, Daniel T. Tridelia, and Pechado, Top Corsato, Senyandato, that's a good Chedelia. And
this is a common knowledge. Nobody in the world would disagree with me on that. Everyone strives for money, for fame, and also all the catastrophes in the world that we're seeing today, all the disagreements, all the fights are also happening while people try to achieve this.
And non you go near to the kitchen borers in Sonyorilla, Pejaze de the Gore, Japanese de the Gore, and in 10 years they are to the top course as they are to Nipa the Gore, and then the Sonyorilla.
And even is in Buddhism, we can see that it is also shown that to some extent you need some, financial support, you need money, you need fame to some extent. It is also shown in the Buddhist scriptures.
You know, she could call Lento Chicted Mandruina, the Zukanga go Marezini, Lutons in it, Nijika shade over it, Tina, Tico, the Maru Coaleto, Tini Ron calling Melat.
And also, the scriptures also talk about letting go of all the possessions, letting go of all the money, letting go of all the fame. And I understand this statement in quite a different, from a different perspective.
Tatico, the Maru Coaleto Candidoji, Zena Suzu Chibuki Chetelia, the Zoo, they are charged Jora. Data Ludabashi Chorin Dojitoni Ra. Suzu Chibuki Chet, not Yongo Samni, Tiki Chetelia, Pesalas of Atonania, Lucio, take Colonel the Pachorin Dojitoni, which is Yender Dawa, the Zelia, which are lucky doll and Niba to go to Tonania Gore.
So, how I understand this statement that you have to let go of the money, to letting go of the fame. How I understand this statement is we have to let go of the attachment, of acquiring the money for oneself, for just, I need money just for my personal use. So, this is the difference, like when we need the money for one's use, and when we need the money for, broader perspectives, like for society, for many people.
And Jendom Baji Dodini, getting a conscious sympathy with you. And you launch the top course at the $10 about Chetelia, the Liga Cheni Yuri, Teo Garik Cheter, Kozogo, $10 the Japan Joe Sade or Gendo Cheter, Gendo di Biana and Niber the Gore letter.
And even the bodhisattvas, they can benefit sentient beings by acquiring money. Even for a bodhisattva, money is essential to benefit other sentient beings.
다 근데 이 자네 나로 직부선 나로 마수 사울이야 딘데 가려를 남바지 렌지 저거 되니 염지진 하고래 나도 니 부도 니 벤자도 니 나모도 나도 저야서 직불이야 아니 직접에 영화 그 탑시도 디기 제대 리간도 오지 디 제대 사울도 오지 땅도 되긴 되게 말을
So here the thing is about the mind perspective of why we want to acquire the money, why we want to acquire some possession. Because it's our innate nature to think of happiness in terms of only me and the close people, my children, my family, and so on. This is our habit, how we think in terms of happiness, just minimizing the boundaries just to me and mine. And when we try to expand these boundaries, this is the main essence of what is taught, regarding the perspective of acquiring wealth.
아니 미가가 라우드 첨보자 라우드 야보자 기초가 여직식 첨보래로 연디자니 아니 기초가 데르도 시리레도 디자니 미소스가 gond어드라가 단다 조건조는 천년라서 수강가 미도냠든 데르데치니 타고아이자니 아니 기초가 어느시 수술이야 첨보지래기래라 데르데치니다
And especially in modern days, in modern society, we can see, acquiring wealth in order to compete with other people, to show off that I have more wealth, more power than the other person.
제도 근데 이자니 아니 데드 기초지기 이자니 다티는 소알이야 링아 역선 가가식 가리식 첨보 저거 이자니 아니 삼치리아 소소고 탑코르자도 세년다도 다저 번저도 사나지 만다브라 라소바조르네 노식 첨벌레 그래라다.
And usually we see that people are suffering from a lot of pressure due to the ongoing competition. People really struggle not only physically but also they have a lot of mental pressure.
아니 디저 생각고 강한 tre에서도 뭐 치셔도 계속 열지 도사도 아니 러지 연예도 계속 열지 도사 근데 치사가 계속 그는 무엇을이야 아니 생각 강화도 뭐 실례딩도스.
And usually we can see the mental people who are troubled with mental tension are most of the times are found in the modern society, in the developed society.
근데 이제는 아니 뭐시 뭐버질 때네 아니 미 뭐버질이야 소소소소리야 생각을 강화식 좀 못해되는데 소소그 싸우장저그 동다도 만다고 있다니 소소그 메시리야 통다고 지치니 아니 레탄다고 지치니 아니 딕산이 시나 로소체와 라소바 드니가니서 뭐버 채되어서.
And we can see that many people are really suffering from the pressure in the modern societies, and we can see that people are often, they lose the value, the meaning, the essence of their life.
다 드니고는 뭐 버시고 아마도 되나 나로 그 강아지 세월에 타올로 약수치 쟁들었다.
I don't want to talk about all of these at extent, but I just want to share my own experience of dealing with mental tension.
मैं कौन से बनाऊं ये रे तो कोर्सा गोरे जो पर जो गोरे तो तो लिखा चेक गोरे नीचे तीत लिखा चेक गोरे इना सोसो को सालू इन जवाब तो ये ना नहीं ताकि तो ना जो चीज़ों को नोशी लासवा को मानसिया को चबरा जिले रे समझूसी.
So as I have said, I consider that it is important to work, to accumulate wealth, to have money for the means of our life. But again, it is really important to shift our perspective, why we are acquiring the money, why we are working, why we are doing this.
ता 나중 머지치 고이 있잖아요. 소소고 서울 동도로 소소고 저와지 동토에나 지디아니 가르임 채나요. 띵고는 이제 타지도 알이야. 가정에만 뭐 건데 셔버지 단다의 시대 시아치 주데 nga chikbu sani ti samu do chori te tonto na ni jaja byatik pendo yomu de.
And as I have already talked during the previous session, when we learn to train our mind, whatever comes in our life, be it suffering, be it joy, we learn to sustain that kind of balanced state of mind, and that is really beneficial in our life.
Ta nambalan ji tsula nga ryo ja chilia so so gu pa droni tiyo nyen don se momba ji jam ji chen so so gu seng din de lia nga chikbu zen sa lu ji do mo do ti ga nga so lia ani linga so gu cha kan ji chen ti ga karno mu de jibi kin karno che do mo do ti lia ni ba de jam ji no ro chila.
And I have a request to everyone. When you go back, I recommend to inspect how this idea of me, of I, is telling you to do the things in your life. How this I and me thinking is influencing our daily actions.
Sosogu semko sosogu semko ni tonde sosogu pe loto dama ba jamji chena ma do ti ni tonde lilha bu ha ko ajre mudilat.
And only when we inspect our thoughts days on days, months and years, only then we can understand the nature of this me or I grasping.
Ne nonchu no le nga so semko go solu tonde re me ta yo re ti jani nonchu don de semko ri ba so ko le na ba so bi jamji cheto na yo lao ju cheto na ya ko yo re ni ba do nonchu che go ma re te nonchu don de semko ri ba se de re.
And Buddhist scriptures have all the mental states, every mental emotion or state described very detailedly, and you can try to learn all the different mind states that are described in the psychology of Buddhism.
Tanda mingo se ta jang jo de nga chi chi do denji te dong chi yore ta de ching mar tong ta yore je ni ni pe cha no song de la.
And there are different classifications of mind states, emotions, like a category of 51 mental states and even more. So each of them are described differently.
Ane number lenji chule ya nga ta don ri ka nga le jang jo do ta te dong. Ani suzu ga masi le ya ron to me ban da ji chorni yi tong da ji cheni re ta da ji cheni tendi gi chorno yon yo la.
I have a question to ask. If any one of you has ever felt strong fear and feeling like you're lost in your life, feeling of voidness in your life, have any one of you experienced these feelings?
Ani ni bar de yo zen ngal malam na do suzu ga ngun ji cheto na.
And it's okay if you don't tell it to me right now, if you don't feel comfortable, but I want to just to remember whether you have experienced this or not.
Namcha dule da su te suzu le chaji shik che dan rin la.
In my option, the appearance of the feeling of fear comes when you have really strong attachment to ourselves, to me.
Namcha le da ngal ka nga ji the sa re se ni ti nyam da tok ba le ngal chi yong sa re ngal chi ngal chi ka nga de mi je ngal chi sam tin di chi je ni le da i ni ti gi ji su ta ngal ya pe ga yin cha chi ta wa ta nga ro de pe ga za wa chi ta ni sa lu ti chi ge le de gi la.
And usually how the fear arises when we have doubt that something might happen to me, I might suffer if I do this, I might suffer if I do that. When we have this strong clinging attachment to ourselves, then this doubt arises and it causes great fear in ourselves.
Ngaro le nyam yo la ngaro le ti ta ro nyam yo kap ti la ngap ta thap ja ko ja khap ti le ji ta ne musik ni ka gu chin ro ka ke go mar khap ti ka le ya ngap ta ro ji de jigno ro ji le gi de.
And I have one experience when I experienced really a strong fear, and it felt like you don't need many causes and a special situation for you to feel fear. When the fear arises, it can be really, really sudden.
탑자 고야 납단다고 질레다들 니까 고무시기 쳔고 무드데나 30기 지지초다 소소소소레 젠차 치탄 말치 용사레 말치 용사레 말미 젠바기 치 랍사레 삼니 나나나나 제니 솔루티 쳔쳔 레브장데 지르는데.
No specific, situation, just the thought that, oh, they might talk about me in this way or in that way. They might make a bad reputation out of my name and so on.
다 생고는데 까 연예스로 몽치야데 텔레고레라 남tat.
And most people who are dealing with mental tension, usually these kind of people, they usually experience a lot of fear.
아니 티세와라 탑로 약속데 아니 소소문을 루톤데 제토나 팽들라데 냠요요.
And in that case, the most beneficial method is letting go of oneself for a little bit, losing the tight knot that you have for yourself.
날 가리요나 루톤제 대아데 날 가리요나 용 스파라스 맞소 코아제 대아도 스바제니 데시제르레.
So how do we loosen the grip? Just by thinking that anything can happen to anyone, the possibility that anything can take place by contemplating on this. For example, the samsaric wheel of life in or bhav chakra. So bhav is meaning possible, like sambhav. Bhav means possible. Why the wheel of samsara is called samsara? Because everything is possible. That's why the name is the wheel where everything can be possible.
다마즈고 마지제 대아든 코아이 있잖니 틀 스바제니 미지 타월 미 스바제 대아고 코아드 간디치레 요잖아 가리나 용 스바레제 야부이나 용 스바레 딕차이나 용 스바레 테리 용 스바레 수니 용 스바레 가리나 용 스바레제 네들 코알레 골레.
So samsaric wheel of life in Tibetan is sipa, and the word goes both for the wheel of life and also for the possibility. So the term is used for both. And in that term, I understand sipa as, possibility of anything. Anything can come, anything can arise anytime.
Three jani suzu tesis luton chetoa the ngamta the similar commercial lia pemase pendo chemudulat.
So loosening up the strong grip we have for ourselves is really beneficial.
아니 막 데나레 탐 마시니 카시 데와이나요. 미젠바질 펜지 토는 직사레. 좀 페마토는 신나지 찍바레 트리시도 소니션 단다시도 로지마시 롭치기질 심마지 찍바레 가리나 케브라 만두 삼사도지 somlu ton togude tini ngolo so tez ton tez pegdulat.
Thinking in that way, for example, if I remain alive, I don't die, then may I benefit some sentient beings. Otherwise, it's okay, I can die anytime. But if I remain alive, may I be of benefit to someone. That kind of thinking.
Don't na shibut 차제지아도 소소소소 찌찌제대아 블루드가 마소노식 침보시게 되는데 소소소레 티와고레 찌찌제고레 이나오 터치소나 티기 자샤 자카나식 침보시 되기를 티와도 터치 장소.
We have a lot of self-cherishment, or you can say self-love, and when this self-love is too extreme, then it causes us a lot of pressure, a lot of suffering.
아니 남바슬링이 낸데지니 저와텔라야 아니 소소리야 젠차텔 식침모터마 가테 춘주 똥토나 아니 셈리야 데케토 미셀리야 강아치 겁들이야 돈레체 토아도 소소리야 딩pon다우지리야도 마타말리야 쳬법자세 잔도 띵고네 남바스고 아니 테즈잠지 저르지.
So what I want to highlight here is the more you can suppress this idea of self-cherishment, of self-love, the more you feel at ease, the more you feel happy.
아니 대요 사우디 아버지 통통나 다 지니 그노래 쫄 생고를 땡데 펜도지도 angaro 냠메라.
And it is through my own experience that I can say that even after trying to change your mind, just in a short period of 1 or 2 months, you will see a difference.
뭐다 띵한테 소소 집지지야 소소 진저지야 줘라 소소 진저지야도 소소 집에 고르게 되나 또 터치다는 얘기 문도 되는 게 dom다고 찍대이라.
So the idea here is to find a balance. You need self-cherishment, you need self-love, but not to not too extreme.
논춘을야 소소를 집에 제거되는 상요리 티제 샘지제 대하는 덤바니 데래라도 론돈 덤바도 젠도 덤바니 이데 있잖아 론도도 젠도 니가 저거를 마도 론도 탐지 매바존의 젠도 저전에 상요 말을라도 논춘.
So even in Buddhism, we do not talk about letting go of oneself completely. Even the Mahayana
덤바니 데 도반도 지란다.
Okay, I forgot the name. I will ask. We receive Mahayana, not ordination. Precepts. Precepts, right? In the yes, precepts. When we receive Mahayana precepts, there is 2 precepts. The one when we say for oneself, and the other for the benefit, the other sentient beings. So here again, there is that thing that if we do not receive the ordination for oneself, we cannot benefit others.
논추던 제 생각과 마도 논추 모니데 시단 시작은 도바메디나 왔다다 직직시기라.
Actually, I do not want to speak at length about Buddhist philosophy, but here I mistakenly spoke about the Mahayana precepts.
논추 그 템투쇼 그 론도 접도도 간디지레잖아. 맞음 그 론도 접도도 도초래라다. 논추 눈이 템투쇼 그 론도 접도 줘라.
Yes. And the highest, the highest goal, the highest self goal in Buddhism is really different from the other ways of thinking.
그저 론도 접도 간디지잖아. 이제는 야부치니 수도 론도 접도래라다.
Because in Buddhism, when we speak about self goal, is about again the self goal is to benefit all other sentient beings. This is our self goal.
아니 논추던 제 판조릭 바자다 간디지레잖아. 넘버도 판조릭 바고래 라지연이 이렇게 논추던 제 판조릭 바자다 간디지레잖아. 수수 판조 거네 젬발 페세테 거래지네 틸라비레스. 티 넘버도 그 섬을 간디 퍼세라다.
So, and when we talk of acquiring health, acquiring wealth, acquiring money, again it's really different in Buddhism, because in like West, when we talk about business, it's acquiring for oneself. But when we talk about money in Buddhism, it's again for the goal is to again benefit others through the money.
대요 첸데 집이온데 지나때 번저르바도 urbato tata deo mare tino cerangapchi mombri diorgana terbato tata roorlet
Lagina.
tamazu jimbaturi no palteni suzul no chu penja pecha tu saraze jora senda chibi onde chine ti riglo tata deo mare tino cerangapchi no deruna ti riglo tata yorlet.
So there is this logic of karma. When you give away, everything returns to you around. So if we think of in frames of just this life, then I don't know if this logic will seem right. But when we think about this life and all the lives to come, then this logic works pretty well.
That's the thing. Dordana nonchu chen tusho rondo drotto yele apendo chia rondo drotto chen ta yakshu the nonchu thing on the chair.
So again, when we talk of self goal, of acquiring self goal, is it is about benefiting others, and this is how we get to the self goal.
Then Zambali Gitizo, Pamja Ripare, Tony Ripare, Tachi Kanga Gripa, the Soso Tonda, Gripa, Rilagana, Shade, the non shooting drink, any rondo dropsate, Gelia, Gendo Joatea, any rondo drink, top Jagaj.
So in the modern world, people learn to do business, they learn engineering for acquiring self-wealth. But in Buddhism, when we study for years and years, it is about benefiting others. This is the main goal.
Tangi Topa Zedea, the Yumil Kama Semia, Kantia, Gijik, Kantia, Gijik, Zochicha, the Toba Coltesi.
And I want to talk a few words about doubt, because doubt is one of the major causes why people are suffering from mental disorders, mental pressure.
Toba Zedea, Suzu Nema Lika Dictaji Chezana, Timmy Jimba Hako Drew, Mijamba Tora Yona, Tendik Topa Shimbole de Ziola.
So among doubt, particularly this doubt, when people do something negative, they know that it's negative, and they are in constant doubt that somebody will know that I did that. They will find out.
Chezo Toba Zedea, the Johnzimbi, Dizimbi Tondalia, Semte de Archiola.
This kind of doubt, like worrying about something that has occurred in the past.
Mal Tendik Semgo Country, Min Tesolat.
And I had this particular experience.
And it's Nema Logino John Relata, Casa, Nama Logina Mogachish. That's also Nema Lika Dictaji Jenny. The Mijambag Hakodru, Mijambag Soriona Man or some. And it indeed in assembly Akama Chimbo, Sani, Tobal, and assembly Akamas of the Miji Dulat. Midu, me Yoret.
And I have seen a lot of people who are in constant fear that somebody will know of their past actions, past things that have happened to them.
That's in December, Iditani, Jolly Semte in the Chochia in Yomalat.
But what is the point worrying so much about something that is in the past?
Number the neighbor the Shigo Chilean, December Tondalia, Semte Chia, the same Machia, the Toba Chia, Tani Magitelia Tonda, Tondi Chuniamal.
So what I want to tell you that it's complete waste of energy and time to keep on worrying about something that you cannot change, that something is already in the past.
Jersey Chimbajual Hako song, Kurtip Chus Yonana Telamaga Chijicha, Kurtip Chus Menana Telamaga Chijik Chezen. Dizembi Tonda is an Etelchua Kakeomar, Semte Kakeomar, Tandriomal.
And there is a famous verse by Shanti Deva in his Bodhicharya Avatara. Why worry about something that you cannot change? And why worry about something if there is a way to change it? So I want to say that if it's in the past, if you cannot change the situation, there's completely no point in trying to worry, rethink of it, take the tension. There's no point.
That Dordana Dizembi Tonda and Jenny, Semlia, Natalia, Machivala, Semtia, Sani Yomar, till Tramdi Chuniomal.
So if you try to do something about that past situation, I guarantee to you that you won't get any fruit, any result from that.
December the Kurtsar, that Kurtsar on Yas Jani, Taki Gurbatic Pink de la.
What is past is already in the past. No matter how hard you try to bring it back, just like said in the verse by Shanti Deva.
Shanti Deva go choose Zochu Jamana Semte in a carrier, Chochia Yomari, Tesson.
Shanti Deva is asking us a question: what is the essence in trying to change something if you cannot benefit from it?
Ting Muyo Nitere, Matu Muyo Nitere, the Muyo Niting, but kill him to Marilat.
This is the reality, but the problem is that we are not able to accept it.
Mize de ada loco gore tino ne muyo ni se loco ze de ada kanti jere ze na kile to ada loco jere la kile che to ada
We have a person needs to be brave, and being able to accept the reality is also one of the bravery, one of the kinds of being brave.
che do muyo ni se imba kile to ada na ni se ka mambu chi se to re la
And when we can accept, the more we can accept reality, the more we can ease our mind, we can ease our some tension in our mind.
te tagi de chi re da ni ba ji la nga ta pe na namba ya ton da wi chi ga posa ding ma ding da wi chi ngali kho dia yo na ma chi ba to ngali kho namba dia yo na se le ma chi ba cha de ya to ngali kho love you ya na ngali kho ji chi yo na ma chi ba se le ma chi ba cha ni tha to ze ya ji se le ma chi ba shik chim bo le de ni yo re la
For example, we can see situation when people suffer a lot from for example, appearance. People think that they are not handsome or beautiful enough, and these are really small when we look from the other perspective. These are really small.
ane ting ngali kho dia yo na muyo ni se na su su muyo ni se ba khile gore la khile jo ka ka ke me ba cha do
And if your appearance is not like a supermodel, you're not that handsome, and you have to accept it. There's nothing wrong about it.
ane namba jing mu ju ta na kho dia yo na yo ane choro sem chi cha sem ka nga che go ma re cho jem ba chi ni kholi choli yonde yore la mi sili na ti yore
And for example, if you're comparing yourself to, I don't know, some really, really beautiful person, you don't have to feel really low if you cannot compare to that person, because you have your own beautiful qualities that differ you from the other person.
나도 전수 셈빠제네 티바침보고 추첸 tumbu치 노추고는 추첸 tumbu치 통예들에 전수 셈빠제네 티송레스 바우도 바무지.
And when we say Chenju Semba in Tibetan, Bodhisattva, right? The last word is Pa. And here the Pa is written a little bit different. Here the Pa that is written is translated as the hero or heroine. So it underlines or highlights the quality that we need while we practice Buddhism. And this is being brave to accept what is the reality, accept the reality, being brave enough.
셈빠제 대한 레시 저거잖아. 무연이 틀려 무연이 지금 kil레체 퉁게 logo도 뽑아요 아이디잖아. 셈빠제 드니 레시 저거.
So Sempa, again, the Pa, Dao Pa, Pa is written, as the word for brave, being brave enough to, accept what is the truth.
근데 일단 아주 시알이야 싶어지 제대로 무연이 저래 틀려 무니 전에 납치 좀 해봐 영어를 틀린 직다치 먹고 그러고 지래디 나 아주 또 돈을 제토 말이지 로코 그만돈.
We are really afraid of dying, even though we know that this is something to happen to us sooner or later. We cannot accept this.
무연이 저도 무연이 지금 kil레 제토고 로코들에서는 아니 미제대야도 코바 침보잖아요. 니 semja 침보잖아요. 아니 강아 몸부들이야 돈을 제토고 차도래.
But we can only, face the situation, face the death when we really accept it. When we accept the reality as it is, only then we can find the solutions to each and every situation.
난러지는 미즈고 초카 동행도제네 라우레 네마 콘투자요라 모니지는 무연이체를 콘투자고 하면 돼.
Before, when people used to tell me that, hey, you're ugly, I used to, get really upset. But now I do not.
아니 포자지나 골타멘조지나 샤티라나 마주 샤티자 레갈라 타멘조. tilana kontu za do tingweni se but tinichi kileche to marala ta tinichi ngaso.
And there are some people that do not have hair, and somebody called them, you bald head, and some people, they feel really hurt. But what is there to be hurt if you do not have hair?
주선 뒤는 미모보다 마티는 초치긴 동행바지 동행발은 동행발라나 초치 땡데 퍼치 직전에 컨트자스 버려도.
And for example, if I see, I point out to a person and I say, hey, you're not that handsome, then the person among you might get a little bit hurt.
근데 이제는 아주 이제 키네 제투고들이야니 솔루션 도나들이야면 이제야 좀제 더르바 뭐보지 이제는 티초레야 솔루 모즈 도토나니 세미야 카나를 빌레다.
So we can see that when we let go of this, self-grasping, we can accept the reality. Naturally, all the problems that arise with that, not being able to accept this, they naturally, disappear.
다 넘버 2 같은 때리는 zonde 소소 공원이 이제 같이 kilneche 투도 모두 띵고니 점직지다 마음발이야. 니께저 춘주지나래. 니서 춘주지나래. 딩고니야 솔루톤 소소 공원이 이제 같이 kilneche 투도 띵고니야 솔루톤도나 강을 생무 강아세와 펜도 자sab제 용물이다.
And it would be really beneficial to inspect, how much of the reality we are able to accept. How many of the things that are there we are able to accept and take them as they are.
네 손지 점된 디그 다로 무연이zel 조바도 조바 마이즈네 손요rel다.
Like
밀리아 메라톤도 니주 메라톤 지주라 데 마이즈 손요레스 무연이zel 조바 조라.
And the Buddha has said, when you point out the truth to someone, even if that statement might feel as,
Hurtful?
Yeah, hurtful to someone, it's not intended, it doesn't become that, how to say, not pulling this person down. Yeah, it's not putting the person down.
단년가 놀려 전년가 싱그라 디놀려 런지 주비 genzia죠. 런지 공요바도 주비 따로 뒤쪽바도 요래 티바시죠 그쪽이 갑들이야 그 티바 멤버리야 쫀지지바 마이어 런지 줘봐 예전에 따로 뒤송죠.
And in Tibetan poetry, or you can say Indian poetry, there is way of writing when you describe the object as it is, the reality of the object. And there is another Buddhist text in which it is said that when you say the reality of things, it is not pulling down someone. Like there is conversation about the Mahayana and the Theravada vehicles, and the Buddha is saying, I do not try to pull down the Theravada. I'm just pondering the reality of the Theravadian teachings.
다니 소소소소 거런지 무슨 거한테 깨침버려 미젠바 거런지도 무슨 거 깨침버리는
And it is really to understand the reality of things, the reality of oneself and the reality of the others.
오늘 지나 소소소 거런지에 대한 아주 미 대화동에 등한문도께 뒤돌려 남쪽 아니 절 젠발을 하 요되게 든지지를 맞아 그 거런지에 대해.
And of course, human nature is much superior to another living beings, as a human that wants to be happy and doesn't want to suffer. Our capacity, of dealing with this is is supreme in many ways to others.
디고네 키소도 탑 코르사다니 지 연데라 소바고 소소 그런지도 몸부도 드럽자 버릴라티 나이나가 베바 이제니 젠고도 지기 니 그런지 통할이야 드바도 요마 트라바이 말라우디 연저이 근데 이상네 소소 그런지도 소소로 문성 제마토아 창도 그래라 소소 문지 제마토
Baba inse dista susurangshi marela.
근데 베바 이제니 젠발이 쳬버다고 지 쳬작도 마 베바를 코 자미레지니.
And sometimes we are unable to see our nature by labeling ourselves. Like I put a label of, I'm Tibetan, I'm a monk. So these kind of labels, they obscure my, my eyes to see the true reality of, of my being.
다드니마 띵고 판루마 마테 스탠다 노르고 시상하데 다 똑바제 대하다 다 마음발로 소소가 리카 제안도 지나 또 리카든 저 먼저서니 똑바자 대하게 되니 마음바든 되니 똑바지 오래다.
So again, I won't be, getting too far into the talk. I will be coming back to the main topic, which is doubt. And as we have, discussed the doubt of regarding the past, there's also, that another kind of doubt regarding the future, like will my plan work? Will my plan come out successfully or not?
다 리카 트루고레 리카 ndamna harore 리카 mandona kake che mar tagino jumuni te khilin che relat.
So again, we use the same logic. If my plan will work, it's wonderful. Otherwise, if it will not work, then there's nothing to worry.
Tati mai ki sengolo kanga ni mi jembale ga tokbaza to donji ga no ba chi sar samte to sa ga no ba chi sar ni tokba shikchimbu ji korzu guzoni sengo na za yung is mombol titulat.
Then again, there is a superstition kind of doubt, doubting and also doubting that somebody might harm me. Some ghost might appear from somewhere and harm me.
다 미지가 아주 게임지 게나오 공간 차례 잡사서 야보지니 게임지 게나 공간 차례 잡사서 미더니 똑바자
Gemi.
게임 게쳐라서.
Hallelujah. And doubt, for example, when somebody is actually smiling and laughing at us, and we feel, oh, that person is laughing about something that I have done. That person might be, knowing something about myself.
아니 날 따지네 파지 미제마디 좀 깨제시 되어래. 어 코니가 나 득자래 두제네 피에데 두선이 드니 똑발리 그래.
Or doubt, for example, if there are two people across the room and while they are talking, their eyes are slightly looking at me, and I think, oh, these two persons are definitely discussing, having a bad discussion regarding me.
근데 미팅이 말은 남 소속은 코인이 미간가를 뜬디 똑바르리 그래. 저 식침을 돌잖아.
Most of the people, to some extent, they have this kind of, doubt.
디 똑바르 식침벌에서나 아니 미 청마 그 소소리한 찰레 잡대야 초안도도 소소라 아니 저거 그 랍대야 그 초안도도 고저거 말이야 뜬디지데 뜬디 똑바르 좀 소소소소 그전에 소소소소 그전에 아니 소소티 코이 뜬 베젠바 랍대야 또 솔로마 테냐마 또 뜬디 까만 테일.
But when this doubt cross the limit is like too extreme, what happens is the person becomes too much,
Anxiety.
yeah, that person feel really anxious with all the environment. He is just done with every people, and that person becomes really desolate, and doesn't really want to become social, etc.
아니 콜레 야부치니 게임 게나레 아니 야부지니 칼라테나레 가르치소나 콜레 노아 탐치 소소 그달 노데오레 티카툴.
So no matter what is the behind thought of the other person, no matter how nicely the other person smiles at you, the other person offers you a meal or some help, no matter what you do, this person will take a negative side to that action.
타티카틀이야 젬바 탑시 까케 마르 소소 사울루토네 소소 강아 소소 셈 사울루토네 소소 강아 세야드레.
So there's only one way out, and that is to inspect our own mind.
아니 콜 칼라지 테존한 데그 칼라노 퍼지 띠글루 있잖아. 자섭장 콩알 가그마레. 가지 코 젬바지 냐도 시에서 말 잡시 잡은데 말 가요 말 코트리자 말 칼라트야데 말 띠글루니 말 나야도 띠리체도 조거레서 딘디 똑발로네 소소 티치조드는 파디 데마토가 소소소소 그조자버려.
And even if the other person is offering you a meal, some people think that that person will always find a fault, another reason. Oh, that person definitely doesn't like me. There must be a reason why he's offering the meal for me. I have heard that they have been gossiping about me behind my back. This food, there might be really something wrong with that food. Maybe there's poison and so on.
아니 소소 그 소소를 야부 시부제니 파마 이나래 부이 이나래 자다 이나래 소소 콜 소소를 야부 제우잖아요. 단데가 가 세도래 내가 내치니 찍찍 제도래서 던디제니 소소 자마지 소소는 거의 요비 아니 파마 벤제를 자다를 특히 처음에 강화되자 그래.
And for that person, no matter how much love and care that person gets from his family, from his parents, from children, from spouse, that person, will always make a trouble out of something.
소소소소는 나잔도 소네 소소소소 캔서 조하고 로징 문이 요래 되냐 다 시에는 디세모들라다.
Actually, there are some stories I've heard how people created, cancer. They got cancer by, strong doubt that they have cancer.
소소소 나자 즈불 나자 큐니메나요 나라 나잔도 나자도 드리도 카실이 트린치그레무도 트니트리천 모니 소소를 퍼지 다다 타우즈니 캔서 차잔 주고 트니 로징오니 요래다.
Some people doubting, oh, I have this, strange symptom today. This might be cancer. And today I'm not feeling well, it might be cancer. From thinking that, but days after, there's a story that people, they went to check up and actually they had cancer,
아니 다 젬바로 소도 도고하기 젬바로 지나 민다 맞아 점 쿄레야 타타지니 세아이즈니 무즈 까민 드리지니 라발야 차부디지니 다로 코로고 사블토네 코로 다로 신도르레 드니 로지요레레 젬바 조라 맞아 니치 침보이사네 타코즈고 초다지우즈니 타코 세고아이즈니 타콜라야 아니 저 니기 라바가 타자지니 저 세아이즈 아니 무즈 땀 아니 라발 타자모니 마지니 라발은 드니 차부디지우즈니 타코 타자니 코샤렌데서니 카케 마지니 코신도르레.
And also there is a story of how there was a prisoner that was to be, killed in the prison, and they tied his eyes and told him that you will be killed by cutting your hand veins. And they actually didn't put any current, they didn't cut the vein, but they put some hot object on the vein, and that person experienced such a huge fear that he died on the spot, just from thinking that he's going to die.
Cancer nazotin hakure cancer sanjo miji data sandoni data go yandu ditani koro roba kake magone namji minojin do data go cancer into the male ditani roba ngini kyoni yongo atini yorelet.
And also there was an incident when a person went to visit a doctor, and at that time he didn't know that he was suffering from cancer. He was just walking with his friends, but they didn't need to hold him. And after the doctor's visit, the doctor has told the person that, I'm sorry, you have been diagnosed with cancer. And after, when that person was leaving the hospital, the friends had to almost carry that person, because of his mental state.
아니 나바타로 유 다다 젬바사 팀도 있잖아요. 다다 젬바 되게 저 캔서 에만도 라오네. 드니 라오잖아요. 그 모니 캔서에 되나 다다 젬바 되게 저 캔서 에만도 라오잖아요. 그 따로 로바촌에 마고 남지 미노제 말레 영토고르라.
And again, when that person, he visited another doctor, and the doctor again told him that you are not, this is not cancer, this is something else. And again that person was able to walk by himself.
다 대동되는 아주 배박을 로직을 좀 몸이 요래돼. 나다 시야게 디세모들라다.
And there are lots of such stories, but I'm afraid we do not have enough time to tell all of them.
땀 돌드나 소속 솔루 똥떡 나자 메나 나자 윤조조 투고래. 나다 춘이 메나 코르세 투고래라다. 솔루 똥떡.
So it is clear that just the way of our thinking, just our mental state is able to affect our physical disease, our physical state.
아니 저도 소소를 강아 춘이 메나 잠벌리는 저 강아 치쇼도 소속 솔루 똥떡 저거래. 아니 강아 치쇼도 춘 체드나 소소 솔루 똥떡 잠벌리는 저 치쇼도 저러 저토래다.
And even if you have zero problems in life, just by a wrong perspective, you can make out of yourself the most troubled person in the world. And again, vice versa. Even if you have thousands of problems, if your mind perspective is right, you can make the happiest person of yourself just by the way of your thinking.
Tandi jane sozo gu sawlu tondo de ani navja jidde ni semko nyamdu jene semko namje maso gu semko chotte jene thanye de tis yo marde dina tizo ke chisho de semko chotte jade ke chisho re de.
So for that, actually in Tibetan there hadn't been a word for mental health, same gitwete, but I regard this topic as most important, the mental health.
Non choose de adlia semko chotte ke thabla jene musi ke thanye ji tayo mare di na to taro semko chotte ke thabla jmuni re de orela.
It's funny that in Buddhism there is no word such as directly translated from mental health. There's no particular word, but all Buddhism is about mental health.
Ngaro non choose shingme ma do chuluk choma tirela.
And I do not know much about other philosophies, but I think all the religions are focused primarily on the mental health.
Tamazu tindi jani tisem mode da dom gyan ro jilia sozo chili giba chiban zadea dedo nani ta chili gini sozo gu semko telia ta chili homa chini kare yina semko chikte cha nyombo chini ja thua to semko chote yaksho telat.
So I want to conclude by saying that balancing your mind is really important, not falling into extremes.
Jopam joina chaji shikche tamu jopam jo mogola mar goure ani choga de chime bag tiwa goure phama de pu bag tiwa goure tina to cheli gini tiwa de shikche ta sona ani tik navju sur kama chai tane sawlu tomsho de ani chaji la so bag tha tini le homa juni tes kima doji de thwa ina singol tende pegelat.
Regarding money, regarding love, regarding affection in your family, all of these are essential. All of these are beneficial for us when we are not too much attached with those. So it's really important to find a middle way when you need the money but you are not too attached to the money, like the right limit.
Mimi ronje telia keja shiki keja mori do ji dina ta tisem delat.
My nature is that when I start talking, I start remembering different topics.
Tene number sul keja tene ziki ta pento ria yer tene jimba mo chonra yana.
And that's why our talk has been jumping from topic to topic, but I hope it has benefited all of you in one or other way. And if there are some questions, I'm ready to answer.
When we know a person that has this kind of mental issues, like what he described, someone that is always worried that someone wants to harm them, how can we help this person? Like, not it's me, but like, let's say it's my friend. Should I interfere with it? Should I try to help them? And how could I maybe help them?
Can last ra. Ani gisi tanganzo ngoshimen nanglo la tana gela gi sungja na shi sem la kange yoge mi se gi ta mi shinda gi ngalo ne gi re ko nye gap la ke che du che den she di gi re de mi je na ani khola den mi je la ni nganzo pen to ta khade ju res.
Te chöl gar shena sheji koro gar sama samji so Chubachini de Lika in a last one of the Mijambalo no machi, Liga teacher, the Ketchuri, Jambag Karasana, the Jambag Chesiana. Tendichini seemed to in a chochia marilat.
And me purchase the Laura, the Mora Mimoche, Morangi Ropa than to your rock, Topo than the
Charity.
You should try telling that friend, that his or her worry is not beneficial, it's not going to benefit them. That's a complete waste of time.
Tendi someday, so good ditchy the Mijamba about Tesserelat. Jambag chick some gray, Jambag chick love to Jambag mi mambo ki chik lau to chik sam de ina so ki dikki de mi jemba lakpa le tresere la.
So if you keep on worrying about, try telling your friend that if you are worrying about others' opinions, it's just same as giving your own happiness to that other person.
Jemba ki yabu lao, jemba ki yabu sana chu gawad. Jemba ki dikya san, jemba ki dikya lao na chu sem digwa ni to hat tani ni to ji le de na so ki chima che to dima dik ze de mi jemba lapal tresere tika tile ani so le de chipe nyonyo re la.
So in such situation, your happiness and your misfortune, it become dependent on others' opinion. It's like giving yourself to another person. The other person is in control of how you feel.
Nga chipi yona chu yabu de lao re, nga chipi mena chu dikyan de lao re, ani chu chipi yome ngi nga chima chi rali duk do la.
So if the other person is satisfied with you, you're happy. If the other person is unsatisfied with you, you're not. So what does that become? I'm controlling you. You're under my control. Where is your own happiness? Where is your own sense of happiness and sadness?
Jemba ka samasa de jemba ke la mala no chuni maton suzo ko mi jemba le ya no ma chini lika chini den tini suzo chishure la.
So it's really important to understand that if you're not harming others and doing something, then there's nothing to worry about. You're completely free. You do not, other people's opinions do not control. They do not have to control your actions.
Masulo rongo go thaktam go zebre suzo ko deche suzo ko ni bar nyato ache bre jemba titi ayo mal. Thaktam go zebre.
These days all people are about struggling for human rights, self-rights, but the thing is that we cannot sustain our own rights to be happy, to how to spend our time, our rights to do something. Do anyone of you have some other questions?
If you have to make a decision and you are either blocked by fear or by doubt, what can you do, or what is a way to go forward?
Thakchoji chebona zebra. Ta loko zedya de ke chimbore zin te shigro la. Thakchu chimboji chwala mi loko gura.
So as I have said, a really important quality a person must have is being brave enough.
Loko zedya da chu inare jikte inare chaja chimboji dole loko zedya marsare la.
And whether we talk about Buddhist practice or just mundane goals, being brave is like the base for our path, for our goal.
Jitemila zedya da matsu pepa nune nonchu nune pekela chisho trelat.
Jitsu Milarepa is the most famous yogi in Tibetan Buddhism.
Kolo loko yore yaman jikte ki chawa doni mata chobje se save zarelat. Lig loko yunjerelat.
He was really a brave person. He was so brave. He even committed a great crime of killing 18 people.
Ibadale ako choose chejana chechile da sonjilti.
But after he got great remorse in what he has done, it is said that he had attained enlightenment just by one life. Just in one life he attained enlightenment.
Ta chawa chimboji dalia, chawa chimbo tiglia, tromri chimboji yon griwa yona tedo nyam delia, ni ninga yo tedo nyamba jirelat.
If you have a great hope to achieve your goal, there is the same amount of fear, equal to that hope.
Ninga mesa likala tamje yo marelat.
If there's no fear, there won't be any result. This is not worth it.
Chawa kanti jamna tika dile ninga tele suzu nam chodo. Tozolo pabi, Tashi Tony, Tashi Kapti Kandichegu, Nikaptil Kandichegu, Tendichen, Taji Chiaramato, Taji Chimbo Chimato Nacho, Nicha Chimbo Dog Marilate.
And if there is a fear, that is a sign that you have to invest more, in that fear. Trying different methods and skills, you have to develop the skills according to that fear, to make it disappear.
The Tagishiano Jeremy Nitters, the Leanato Munity, but killing to the touch to as Goras, the Janitanido Gilat. Munity Tagin as a moon is a killer to Egypt. Till a locos they attach it to Mijibura.
And again, when taking decision, it's being brave in a sense is important. Being brave by seeing, accepting the reality. Any other questions?
I wanted to ask, talking about dealing with diseases, like let's say critical and chronic diseases. Is there a specific technique or few specific techniques or teachings in Buddhism to help you deal with the disease, not just a general?
That galagi tangi the cancer kola kejma bushisa ani mogi tweedirisha tanganzu chudat me yogi nazan mangbo yoga tenzo nyamdula ji khare thapshi tyan do khare gari thaplam do samutanda tebe mi neba jena
Tadi Paju Nabal Pabi Keja Shiarela, Naba Kanga Tomali Tishi Gorezini Keja Chiyomarelet.
So I think when talking about the methods, we must consider the mental capacity of the particular person, who is being sick, who is suffering from the disease.
Nani Naba Tangazu Nonchu and Nonchu Jedini, me local Chimbodojina. Nani Tacho Shala Lochi, da two, Tinit Mother Ticha Mando. Tindi than Tini Peretro Choro Samba Teni. Non chudo, tini yabu choseni, tini kejasheni, lost chicken, non halia yabu chatini, shell and jita kakemenjo, tini canisa yorelat.
So, for example, if a person is, a believer, a Buddhist, who is, he believes in Buddhism, we can say a Buddhist that is brave enough, we can say to the person, I'm sorry, like the doctor, I'm sorry you have just 1 or 2 months to live. And what you can do is practice Buddhism, do a very good practice, and prepare yourself for the death. And the person will have the capacity, to practice, to get himself ready for the death, right?
Tindig Michilia, that you Rina Lochido, Tona Dawa Tixma Desa Maresini, Tindiki Chuba Chilia, Dada Gitilani, Ani Koroga. Tijile lo needs then go down retina, Korog Matinonlia, Chu Yakshu de Lotini Bari Rapsas in Korog Tilan, Shidilaya, Jicta the Kana comic women, no Chibuchin Sharilat.
The Dora,
Domar them, we need to change it.
Oh, so this is actually a real story that the person had told a Buddhist practitioner that maximum you will live 1 year, minimum 6 months. And the practitioner actually lived for 2 years after that. And during his lifespan, it was these 2 years when his practice was the most intensive. He really did good practice during the 2 years.
Taniba the Latanga Chixiatre, Chivazi the other Chivi Chuni, Chithi Jigan Chagora, Dingu Nitere. You local chamber that not you kill Malay in Dojina, you local chamber, you're not in the Ogunia. Saluton, and you need the killing Tony, same comment about the Chasavalet.
So, again, as I've said, the death is reality that we are struggling to accept. So, our, mental distress comes when we are not able to deal, with accepting the death. And if a person is brave enough, naturally his tension will subside if that person is able to understand that this is something that everyone goes through.
The killing Jola Tagiziano, the local, Muyoni is the killing the local.
And again, it's essential for that person to develop, how to say, bravery. How to say bravery? Bravery.
Heart.
Yeah, brave heart towards accepting the reality.
Any Jemba local menju doina could same color papi, same go kito Keresia, the Yakshadrilla.
And on another hand, if the person is little bit faint-hearted, can I say that faint-hearted, not so brave, then again we must talk according to that person's mental capacity in a skillful way.
Not in it.
Is it right answer?
Yeah, well, it's not what I meant, but it's okay.
The
I mean, because I'm not talking about dying.
Yeah.
There are chronic
yes,
conditions that you might not die in 6 months,
Yeah.
but now 40 years you have lived with a chronic condition, with illness.
Yeah.
So maybe
Chronic
what is-
disease means diseases that are
Chronic
not,
means that it's all the time.
Yeah.
Like
this is what they
diabetes,
said. Yes.
So maybe the meaning
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that any Buddhist practice
Yes,
will
yes,
do you good.
Yes, I translated the right. Movie
does.
laidita the meles ra. Movie laidita gise nasa culture jeta megyo gi nasa den yo ra kisna chinyen ro ra ta che yo mara. Ani dubi ne ta som tangdan jo ra. O dejula ta tablam do khari re mixe gi nasa la the yo nasa rang la the.
Nazar on the pay, you with the Garsa
Life is suffering.
Solutondo de Zebra. Nazar on the pay, and you solutondo. That non children in solutondo mobility, then shing melatera. Non children in solutondo shing melati. Then non children Monday going to Sengor Bazan and the non children is a shade under the Sengor Condo, Tiniman and Kizito Shivaina. Nazar and Mount to imagine a Yakshua latera. Shinishigura, telling out of magic latera.
Initiate room the patient.
The Naza Jure, Chininada di Chininada Yoatilan, Trotice, Tingunia, Kalazagos, Tadaza, till the same day in Machilla, same day Chininada, Mevan Chagmaralat.
So actually, there are different ways of thinking you can apply in different situations in Buddhism. But I don't want to go into a very broad system and all. Again, I want to conclude repeat the same meaning that you have to learn to accept the reality. When we accept that we have some kind of disease, we do not try to not stay in constant fear of that disease. Just do the right routine, take the meals on time, take the medicine, and not making some extra fuss about the disease. Like the disease is there, but not highlighting it. Just accepting it and living happily with the disease.
Chininada does anything, Simri Chideo and Simri Teletene, Sosolia, Naza Jemba Ligret, not Nintonio Yolet.
For example, if we have diabetes and we keep on worrying about that, that might the outcome might be this disease will develop into another disease.
Chininada said there was a Solutondo dictator, Solutondo Jemba Kake Marilet. This social congregation is similar opposite of the same much about the same goal, a congregation is Zojo Marilet. Chininada, another current achievement.
So, for example, diabetes, we can be really stressed out about the disease that we are sick, we have all this sufferings, but on the other hand, we can think that in contrast to the diabetes, there are so much diseases that are much worse than that. It makes us look on the positive side.
Nazadan call you are Muyonizer, Muyonizer, but killing good. Taking Naza the social Kanga Chimbo to the Chunju Zomozo to Solutondo rally.
So there's already a fact, a reality that you have the disease. But the way how we let this disease affect our mind thinking is in our own hands.
Solutondo Mandio and Zambali Ticho the church Chandurilate. Chininaza's motto Yomardi, Susu Chandurilate. Chininaza Union Jura. Tiganga Chimo Nata, Pen Masu Dicchimo Mikanga, Chicken Root, and all another dictator, your son, Soluton Devina, 나우지 셀리안 잠벨리노 막강아 치쇼도 말이 나자 딕초도 촐 지니트 마도 요마디 강아 치혈 촐 장르라.
So you have only the diabetes disease, but by overthinking, oh, every person is free from the disease, they go out freely. By thinking like that, you can make out of yourself the most miserable person in the world, even though you have only the diabetes. Now there are so much more people that are suffering, but you become the more miserable.
간 초대 아버지 생바치부지야 동테relata.
So the conclusion is you have to take good care of your health and also take good care of your inner mental health. Be happy.
다 디즈 제존을 싸와지는 초대제는 셈이야. 나도 식침부지 저기지. 초대이지는 야 남도자 마 남도자 파 남도 칼라나 티그네그리 야그네그리 치즈니 텔리 tonjo지니 소소소소야 남도 초대제는 틱 사울도네 강가 식침부지
And
돌아.
in modern times, we can see that in the name of health, actually people are becoming a little bit, mentally sick. Now they're thinking, oh, if I eat that product, will that affect my, level of something? Will that extra, ounce of this will affect me? So people really get distressed.
제 저는 초대를 넣는다고요. 초대를 사울도 식체 타서나.
So again, if you are extremely conscious with your physical health, again it goes the opposite way.
네체저 다기는 가리나 초치리아 사울 식체다 마더니 사울도 기만다고지 되더 되어지기라. 난다
So
되더라.
I have mentioned, didn't I, that everything needs to be monitored, in the right, amount to try to go in the middle path where there is a balance.
네제가 좋아요.
And any other questions?
How do you find this middle path?
The Kimadi, and this is
No.
랑고티마디 테레 소소 생걸 빠비 시아레 마도니 디레제니 라요 말라트라.
So again, you have to ask your own mind, what is the middle path? I cannot, point a finger at you and say this is the middle path.
녜그 기만 통데아데 초르 기마마인 키르 콜 기마마인 키르 미러르 소소 사울도 만다 이자니 소소 그 생걸 빠니 소소 기마 데토아데 케치쇼relata.
What is a balanced way, a middle way for me might not be the same balanced way for you, for her, for him. Everybody has his own, sort of mental balance. The middle way according to one's own, mental capacity.
당아도 빼자니 집시나 쳐서 냐음도 아시티세만 디세니 고선
Then, don't regular.
세제 지자니 티드 직시.
I want to tell about one example. If you're not bored, maybe too much time.
냐우요나 깨제 도마시드가 뭐 콘도자니 지멜라트.
No, you can tell me directly. I won't get angry. Is it a lot of time?
No, you can go ahead.
셰셔세요.
Now.
이미 시험나변은 부기나 파마를 찌와 고그래. 이버도 고그래. 파마기나 부기를 찌와 고그래. 부기 파마를 찌와 고그래. 저 식체다서나 파마도 부인이 버릴 강아 침버치기라다.
For example, when there is a strong bond between children and parents, and when there's too much, this affection between, then again it leads to trouble.
다음은 이제 초가기 기매를 찌와 고그래. 기매기 초가를 찌와 고그래. 찌와도 식체다서나 그런 일은 니가 강아 식침버치기라다.
And again, it's good when there is affection, when there's love between the two spouses. But when again the limit is crossed, there's a lot of troubles.
딱 계제 뒤때는 저서 기마 데토도 가제 제고임 하고 이제라다.
Nagila?
계제 뒤때는 로티어 식체다 말인가. 뒤에 빼게 맨안 주마라. 어 들리지 거니 건데 기마 대하게 랑가 저라인가 서로 동도티 주도때 과라고 이제라다.
So when I talk in these terms, I think you might understand, what is the right amount of affection between people. Everyone has experience when the limit is crossed, what kind of, tension, what kind of problems arise. When there's too much attachment between the people.
서로 That didn't say it already, Jimba Kangala really.
And this is one example, and you can extend this particular example to another.
Jimba try.
Any other questions?
Genla talked that worrying about the past and about the future is useless.
Yeah.
And I understand this, but what about reflecting on the past to like not make the mistakes again?
Did something.
The Kansas session actually pause stop recording alternate. Can you see if it's stopped?
No, it's all good.
Good. Okay. The person like get like that. This is what mom we told that top of the reward because top of the reward shade that share more some rather.
December Choegyel Malamba.
The mood to a carriage lana. The imbining on the December on the Nudric Shorira. And Nudrilla that junk said Nudrilla some Tanchaya Mom Balanganzo, the local Layura, Jayura, and the country realista.
Thing also non you know song your relative. Or the do that do it, your mother and do it.
It's the screen is paused, it's going right, it's recording. It's the audio. Okay.
Matil quote and digitally relative, non you know Tico the Momba song you're reading, or go later Joina. Pena.
So the battery is low.
Battery is low. Okay.
That's why it's not
Battery low just let's
And dear.
This one. Or that.
both.
What? Yiga.
Ale? Ta, nema changes. Che Zembi Lika, the Dichaman, Jajam was a chegus. Mazo notionally and Nipal and Niban Tonlas in the Tessons I related.
So, how I understand this is, it is really important to accept if there is like you were talking about the past. So if there is something wrong in the past, the first thing to do is you have to accept it that it was wrong.
Oh, Nema Sozo Chezimbi Lika, Dicha, the Dicha Yamba Mun's Chegore, Semtich in a Machaba, Chayama.
So
Anybody Chaba Chegore.
So you have to, you have to be able to differentiate between being able to accept it and not worry. Like your acceptance of that thing, your rethinking must be not the worrying about it, not taking the burden of the worry.
Tibari language in Domodulata.
So do you see the part that is between these two, the space between the two?
Nema Chezimbi Lika, the Lika Dicha and Munzichia. Jimani Machesama, so letting you but the Guriti. Nema Chezabatalia, some changing a Machuat Tanya Mache, Botila Hilat.
So when we accept that this is wrong, automatically there comes the decision to not repeat this in the future. And the burden of worrying is not doesn't need to be included in that. You accept and you just say that I will not do it in the future. Any other questions?
Like what he says sounds really easy, but obviously, like if I don't want to repeat a mistake, but I've done it like let's say 10 times already, then we worry that the next time we come in a similar situation, like let's say there's a person that always makes us angry for whatever reason, and they always provoke us, and usually I get angry, so I'm now worried that the next time this person comes up to me, I will get angry again.
Gelagi she did a fair little code doulas ra. You may net kissing a nundri chirajira, yet Sarju Tambachena, Nakajo relis, Penaya, Penay Gelnichana. Benata meeting not Tapash Kondo Langju and Ra. Tangatemachu Kondo Sasaka. The Temachu body meet the Taranding and yet and a lady, not simply Languralas. The middle of the I and get Kondo Saju Kondo Landu resan.
Taro re nga ro ji na ma shit de da ma da nga ro shi ya no je thoma la le ta to mu de la.
Yeah, I understand when you say it's easy and difficult on practice. Even everything that I'm speaking about, I myself is, at times it's really difficult to put it in the actual practice.
Tino ne tes la le ta ba le te nga ro sem go na za da shon ri du de la.
But it has been also my experience by putting in the practice just even a few fragments or pieces of the advices that I listen or talk. Even by this I get a lot of benefit, and experience, of easing my own mental burden, my worrying.
Ta choro mil tagi chiare la. Nima ta wa choro control no den ji chi na nima chi cho domba na po te ni cho pa zindo da chi na ji ma control mar lo atni mi yo re la.
Ghade gela?
Nima ta wa choro mi control don ni chi tema chu zo ba go ni zo ba go so tema chu zo gum de ra. Ta ko mil tagi chi na control ma lo na control lo do chi ni pa dik da chi ni jam do nam ji da chi te so na mi ka ji ti ji ni cho le ka ke ma lo ni jam ti do ni yo tin di yo re la.
So you have sometimes there's some exceptions when you act according to the other person. For example, if you are experiencing anger issue with that person is always making you angry, and suppose when you see that person is coming toward you, you can act as you're angry. Without experienced anger, you can show them some anger, say, why are you troubling me like that? And maybe that person will not trouble you again from the next day.
Ta tin mi ti condition do mi ti so so control no de na kan de so so le ya ka nga man cho do so so nam cho pe cho to ne thalo condition nam cho thalo condition te ne pha jo de so so le ya ka nga ma cha ji so sa re te pe cho tong gore le.
So you have to find a way how to not let the other person make you angry, or from your side, how is there a way for you not to get angry at the person?
Ta non chu no gu chen tu jo da chol kondu ka je long de na chol zoba gam de ji ani choro chi sho tere la re ni ma ji kondu long je ra na sam ni ti so non chu gu chen thom ba ni nyaw le che so na kondu long je ra na sam ni ti so le re la.
So in Buddhism, again and again we see, the teachings are of great importance, especially the teachings of, meditation on patience. And some practitioners who are really high in their practice, when they are really used to practice patience, there are stories when, the practitioners try to find people who made them angry, to practice the patience. So this is the way of trying to accumulate, trying to get happy, to acquire happiness through Buddhist practice. Maybe another example, I don't know, maybe it's too many.
Non ci vuol dire sono la right. C'è una zoba gomsa delle più su nane con control longe più su desse io mara ya cha mangi chala su. C'è zota tindi con zoba gomsa che c'è una pasce tindi nyane tindi tindi zoba gomsa. Nani per dire zoba gomsa na pasce ne control kaze lon ayo. So semle dici chiri ndo ata mato. Kan che c'è. Più nyane zoba gomsa ro più zu yan chala su ma yini samdar kondu zagira
Più
nyane zoba gomsa le
ale
ro più nyane timur chala su ma yitani mi lavza kondu zagira da ko zoba gomsa le più nyane tini jini ani parizile ko zoba gomsa le kana ka ke meji chani mi jemba ke ser kala no su sim che bechani
the music then più nyane se ko
oh tini loji hore la
ale le
no chuno.
So there is a story of a practitioner who used to practice patience by having a monkey in his place. So the monkey, it tortured all of his home, running here and there, and that was the highest level of his patience. And after that, when he was completely, he mastered the practice of patience with that monkey. after that, it was really easy for that person to practice with, other people, other distractions.
Tadi zara chulso noba chidena control de na panoba machini teni suzugo now chopecho teni gandhi china suzuki yon sare ti tawlo te gore te kap to ti gandhi chi che gom go to suzu kap ti saulu to na chopecho to re.
So if there is a situation when the other person is making oneself angry, this is a good opportunity to figure out what skillful thinking we can apply here to make oneself not affected by that other person behavior.
Ani pavjot ko control lo dena cho control zasana ani pavjot ki goa den rapse relate control zasana cho machi ba chhatara ko machi ba ko goa dera rola.
So if actually you end up feeling unhappy after that person's behavior, you are giving your own happiness to that. You are giving your mind to that person. You help that person achieve his or her goal. This person's goal was to make you unhappy, and you help that person.
No,
So I think something like that, and some other questions.
Maybe in that moment, can you laugh instead of feeling the fear, or just transmute that emotion into in terms of actions? Like one solution would be to try to laugh in that moment when you start feeling the anger, or just trying to shift the emotion inside of you. Without going crazy.
Shift the emotion.
Like if you start feeling the anger coming up, then choose
the options
to laugh.
Love, shift the emotion, or apply some actions, right? Okay. The kissing and so control say in a tanto lenera. The control lamdu kalanganzo gemu gyagurve, Yamina Ganzuta color samudi, Nazuguatangurve, Yamina dilla Kasure, Tablam Shindaji, and Pushitangure, Kajure.
Control long kabzora. Control long kabsalia, then Monchingonia, Karsa, Kolo Tablo Teton Ramada Jura. Tangaro which knows the Mandri Kedishina. Control lonely, Churo Tonda Dragmarelata. Jua. Tonda Dragmare, Churo Kibi Mare. He Zani. Mazo Bositing is to Control Zana meet shoulder like Bositing a door. Bositing in Control Zasona meeting Semba Trini. Rupa Damato Chini, and he meeting shoulder like that. But Tindi Zani Control Zai Kabzilla and this same digger. Man Namjuk Tata Karsa, Lika Choegyel, and did no chick do so, control the Majin, and Lika chick on a carchek on a theatre.
They name movie Chitty, the Dire, the Condo Sasara, Condo Masanga, and the Samtang, the Sasavilla, the Samtang.
That's how Gilina does control that difficult Rogilor. That's how Gilera.
Sajimical,
Zajimicavia, Chesum, the Sablutica. Ani jisu don liga che jang yina tonda tadan ro maresa me ti kondu da majalia ro iko pavjo de lia tslia na pu ji law na phale keje she go yo na yo ti keje da kondu da majje chin ne nge te lens jaw go so ne kondu da majje chin de samlu te ka tata ji ni garsa nam kyo de nam kyo keje ne liga da che ji maresa me kondu da majje chin ne ko liga gar che go ti che ya khselat.
So actually there are different methods in Buddhism regarding handling the situation when you're angry, but I think it's really beneficial by recalling what this if I reply the person also by in anger, what result will I get? Like what is the goal? What is the meaning of that reply? And also, for example, I've heard that when you're in the boxing sport, if one opponent is too much angry, that person is unable to
win the game.
Unable to use his energy and skills accordingly. When he's overpowered.
On Nico Kandichina, Kontu Zai Kavlia, Kontu Zasa to meet the Tarimbo Doji Dennis, Chogakime in a Kuniparelia, Lika Jinduma Doji, Kontu Dozana, and Choga in a Choga Kimia the Taris, the Chimina Choga the Taris, then and Kontu the Majis Jigila, and Konipar in Duma the Gary on a Kaja.
So usually it's advised to leave a gap. For example, if you have had a quarrel with your spouse, just give it a break to distance yourself for some time being, and when you are cooled down, then to have a conversation.
Kondu ziyade sablu na thondore la. Sablu na thondo jena ta kuda.
And it is said that the anger is really short-termed.
Because thajit chena ani thajit yabu yumar la.
And when we mean by short-term, it means it doesn't bear long-term results, and especially the decisions that are taken when you're angry, they usually do not yield any kind of beneficial results.
Nijin boy.
By the way, for anyone interested, in our class on Wednesday and Friday, we study the chapter on patience of Shantideva right now.
So the Junju do the real.
Ta chunjin zene do the pen masi abore de chunji ri tsiri de sozo ku chano tsete japtona ni tezir ma do jamatona sozo masili ja chimbo jitong de.
It's really great. I've just translated your notice to Kenla, and he's saying that actually the Bodhicharya avatara's words are really easy and short, but when you apply them to practice, they are really magical.
Pija zede aina, chunji zede aina re. Temata da chini lo ju che janjo de pen thong mu de ngalo nyam ne yola.
Like that?
Temata da chini.
Yes.
Ra mukita ni.
Yes. And it won't benefit you if you read the Bodhicharya Avatara as if you are watching a TV serial on the screen. You have to try to apply it in your daily life.
Sozo ku chano le tet ma to jamato na yo. Jashab jachanga ma to jamato na yo. Chumasil de chiting.
Even you can try by starting from 5% out of 100 to trying to apply it into actual life.
Yeah, there's lots of monkeys here that we can invite home.
Gina la pio mangbu shu de mas na ti chu chu na pio mangbu ya.
Ya
A
were la.
lot of good practitioner, why not, Rita? You have a good family.
Yen shia mambo de ta ti che to kanga ge yen bure so de. Tini san samjai la.
So many talks, many things are left, but our time is limited, so maybe that's it.
Nina ye dangi kire shia zu chikchena chuzal pen tok yos bari. Tini chikchena tini do yitere tini Somalia tashi dele la.
So maybe my talk I hope benefited just a little bit someone, maybe it has not, but thank you so much for everyone for coming
Thank you,
here today.
Vishwa.
Tashi dele.
Good night.
You want to know the middle way in 2 days?